Alright, guys.
Hey,
So this is a
ladies
part
and
two
gentlemen.
of reading the most scariest stories from the internet.
Yeah, so we saw your comments on the last video, and you guys were wanting a part two. And frankly, um, we're like, okay, sure. Um, what's crazy is okay, so like, I'm gonna be real with you guys, and I think that Lucy's gonna agree with me. We didn't think the video would do that well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, it's like because we were like thinking ideas through and that video was just kind of random. And literally a day ago, it was at like what, like 40, like 80 views. Like for me, the last time I checked on it, it was at 140. The last
it
time
went.
Lucy checked on it,
It
it was
literally
like at
went
what?
from 100 views to 243. It may get more in the
hmm
future, which it's not bad.
And we just want to thank you guys for watching the content. It really means a lot.
Like for
You
real
know,
though, it actually means a lot.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? Like those views and likes, I really appreciate like all of you guys that supporting or
mhm.
that supporting this channel. You know,
Because the thing is, like, as a small creator starting out on YouTube, it's a journey, man. It's a journey.
it takes a lot of time and dedication to get to that success you want to be. You want to. Oh my god. You know.
But anyways, now we will begin in reading the internet's scariest horror stories, part 2. I Feel Fantastic. I Feel Fantastic was a video that was uploaded on YouTube by a channel I believe the name to be Creepy Doll was the channel's name. The channel depicted of a mannequin singing eerily a song saying I feel fantastic. As you can see in the video that is currently on screen, that is what the mannequin looks like. Then the video cuts to what seems to show the outside of a backyard. Many people believe that there's a theory, and the theory is that the mannequin is wearing the clothes of a murdered victim, and the person that's recording decided to put the clothes of their murdered victim on the mannequin and essentially wanted their victim to feel like if they were feeling fantastic.
Jeff the killer. Jeff was a 13-year-old who moved to a new neighborhood with his brother Louis and their parents. On the first day of school, they were a co-
Accosted.
they were accosted by three bullies named Randy, Keith, and Troy, whom Jeff brutally beat up after they threatened them with knives. Louis took the blame for it and was arrested, sending Jeff into a deep depression. The bullies later attacked Jeff again at a party, and Jeff killed one of them, but not before getting covered in bleach and lit on fire by Keith. During this fight, Jeff Jeff's mind permanently snapped. When Jeff woke up, he was at the hospital and his head was wrapped in bandages. When the bandages were taken off, it revealed that his face had been disfigured and ghastly pale from the burns. With bright red lips and leathery texture, Jeff said that he liked his face this way and laughed hysterically. But the doctor foolishly thought that this insanity was merely a side effect of the painkillers and let Jeff go home. Later that night, Jeff's mother found him carving his face into a permanent smile so that he would no longer have to exert energy to smile, as he put it, and burning off his eyelids so he could always see his face. Jeff's mother went to her husband to tell him that their son had gone completely mad and needed to be killed, but Jeff caught them and stabbed them to death. This woke up Louis, who was recently released, with Jeff telling him as he was about to plunge the knife into his body, quote unquote, Go to sleep.
Candle Cove. Back in the early 1970s, there was a show known as Candle Cove, which featured creepy marionette puppets. User SkyShell003 created an online chat room to discuss the show with others to see if they also recalled watching the low-budget television show, as it seemed to give him terrible nightmares that he still lives with to this day. Surprisingly, other people in the chat log responded that they remembered about Candle Cove and recalled their own memories about specific characters, such as Pirate Percy, the Skin Taker, and Horace the Horrible. The conversation all quickly turned to the last episode of the show, where the members recalled the puppets bursting in horrific screams that left SkyShell003 and others in the forum crying in horror, who have also been living with the constant nightmares. There was one specific user, however, Mike Painter65. He was extremely shocked that he wasn't alone and decided to console his mother about why he was ever allowed to watch the show as a child. However, his mother was surprised that the man ever remembered Candle Cove, telling him that as a boy, he would sit in front of a static television screen of dead air for 30 minutes each day, saying that he was watching his favorite pirate show.
Slender Man. Stories of the Slender Man commonly feature stalking, abducting, or traumatizing people, particularly children. The Slender Man has become a pop culture icon, although he is not confined to a single narrative but appears in many disparate works of fiction, typically composed online. Fiction related to the Slender Man encompasses many media including literature, art, and video series such as Marble Hornets from 2009 to 2014, wherein he is known as the Operator. The character has appeared in the video game Slender, The 8 Pages, 2012, and and its successor Slender, The Arrival of 20 and its successor Slender, The Arrival, 2013, as well as inspiring the Enderman in Minecraft.
Gateway of the Mind. Gateway of the Mind is about a team of scientists once conducted a radical experiment in an undisclosed facility. The scientists had theorized that a person without access to any senses or ways to perceive stimuli would be able to perceive the presence of God. An elderly man was the only person to volunteer who claimed to have nothing left to live for. The scientists performed a complex operation on the man, removing all of his senses. He cannot see, hear, taste, smell, or feel. After days, the man claimed he was hearing mobile voices in his head, and 2 days later the man cried. They could hear his dead wife speaking to him, and even stranger, he could communicate back with the scientists, were unfully convinced until the man began naming dead relatives of the scientists themselves. The man grew more and more distressed, for at every waking moment he could hear the deceased speaking to him, refusing to leave him alone. He began clawing it where his eyes should be and biting of chunks of his own flesh to feel. The scientists rushed in and restrained the man to a table so he could not kill himself. He stopped struggling and instead started crying non-stop for 2 whole weeks. Then out of nowhere, the man, despite his apparent blindness, focused his eyes on one of the scientists and spoke his final words. I have spoken to God, and he has abandoned us. His vitals then stopped, and he dropped dead. There is no apparent cause of his death.
Happy Appy. Happy Appy was an old show that was apparently broadcasted on Nick G before abruptly taken off air very quickly due to some episodes of the show taking dark turns. The show depicted a clay apple happy, helping children with injuries. After a while, he developed a death stare by staring directly into the camera at the viewer. He also began violently killing children, all implied and happening off screen. One episode, he had depicted two planes crashing into two large towers, implied to be the World Trade Centers when rubble hit a child, and the others try to help. Abu, Abu, or Abby,
Uh, Abu.
Abu led them away from the scene, claiming that's natural children. The strange part was the episode aired years before 9/11. What seemed to be an innocent yet rather morbid children's show in the beginning soon turns out to something much bigger and more terrifying as the author comes was not right at all.
Barbie.avi. Barbie.avi begins with the author finding an old abandoned computer outside his apartment. And when bringing it in, he searches through the computer. He finds some old files and found a video file named Barbie.avi. The video is nearly an hour long and the audio quality was incredibly poor. The video seemed to be an interview with a young attractive woman, but the more the interviewer asked questions, the more the woman seemed to get saddened. Her face turned red and she began sobbing uncontrollably. This went on until she cried so hard she couldn't speak. She simply sunk her head down, and the video faded to black. After staying black for a while, the video came back showing a pair of legs walking along a couple of train tracks. The author recognized the tracks and went there. He soon found an abandoned house. The only locked door in the whole house was that of the basement. And the furniture inside the house seemed way too new to be there. When the author reached the second-story bathroom, the dust had been wiped off the mirror, and wet plastic tarp could be found in the bathroom. The author later noted he heard a loud moan behind him, and he jumped out of the window and escaped. He later theorized that it could have been the piping in the house sounding. But then again, why would water be running in a simply abandoned house?
The Hoarders. The Hoarders legend has it if you go into any mental institution, shop, or such, and ask to see a hoarder, you will be led to a room where you will be put through a test to test your might. These tests are oftentimes incredibly hard to complete, but finishing them will result in you obtaining one of the 538 objects of the hoarders. Those seeking for these objects would oftentimes turn into different people, making them villainous or evil. People have often theorized that if one were bring all 538 objects together, they will bring about the end of the world.
The strangest security tape. The strangest security tape I have ever seen. This story details what happens after a new guy, Jeremy, starts working at the gas station. The author of the story is working and he kept seeing that Jeremy kept acting very strangely and had a very creepy laughter. After a while, things started to go missing in the station, and after reviewing the security tapes from when Jeremy started working there, they come across something terrifying. Jeremy himself seems to be messing with everyone and appears to be able to manipulate time for his own needs. The author soon got stuck in one of Jeremy's time loops, and after many strange happenings, the author tries to call the police, who investigates where Jeremy apparently lives but finds nothing but a burned down house. The author closes the story by stating a new guy had just started, called Jeremy. The loop had begun once more. And that is all for the stories, everyone. I hope you enjoyed part 2. Again, leave your criticisms down below in the description telling us how we did. If you would like a part 3, just know that we'll probably think about doing a part 3 somewhere in the near future, probably maybe a month, because these videos, they take a long time to make. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it to you, Lucid.
Oh, huh? Oh, right, sorry. Yeah, alright. Yeah, guys, peace out. Peace out.